Innovative, revolutionary, stellar development, purest universal knowledge. In a transformative, futuristic design. The Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Our Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit is constructed from high-quality materials carefully selected by our team of experts. Embedding the essence of the new GANS plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man. This new plasma enhancement changes the environment of the body to allow it to return to its natural, balanced energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. For the first time in the history of man, a system has been developed and delivered which not only enhances the physical body of the man, but also enhances the emotional part of the user of the system, hence reducing and eliminating many problems that could not be solved in the world of science, to bring the body of the man into near perfection, as at the time of birth. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of every man today and can be ordered by medical practitioners, sports specialists and healthcare centres. The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the future you have been waiting for, is here. The journey from space to spaceship technology has started. Every order is subject to a contractual agreement and might require additional accessories priced separately for applications according to each case. You can order or contact us at office@at.kfm.global for additional information.
Welcome everyone to the 315th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, February 13th, 2020. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Kremd. I'll be a host today along with Flint Mulhausen. And I think I can hear Mr. Keshe ready to go in the background here. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready for today's workshop?
Yes, good morning, good day to you. As usual, wherever and whenever you listen to these Knowledge Seekers series of workshops. I think we are entering in our more or less 7th year as we enter 315 teaching. It's nice to be back. It's nice to see a lot of things taking shape. And we have to see how far and how deep we can turn this knowledge to be. I noticed just before we start, Wang Lin is with us from China. She's the head of the Keshe Foundation operation in the whole of China. And it'll be nice to know what is happening with the One Cup, One Life and how we hear from our Chinese knowledge seekers. Wang Lin, would you like to join us if you can speak?
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Nice to
morning,
meet you.
Nice to talk to you. At least you're still alive, as I say.
I said the God always look after me.
No problem. Can you explain to us what is happening in China now? Is the concerns for the foundation and the world, and how do we see it in China? What is the position?
Actually, I think
I have to tell you, you have to translate while you speak both sides because they're waiting for you on the other side to listen as well.
Okay, understand. 凯斯先生让我谈一下这个一杯一命在中国的情况，然后以及现在这个疫情中国的情况，需要我去做翻译。So you want to know the one cup one life, or want to know the whole situation?
General, the whole
China?
situation. China is part of the family, so we have to know what's going on.
Okay. So actually, after the new year is supposed to go back to work, but the control is more tight. The general situation is like out of province Wuhan, the cases report became decreased every day in about 1 week. But the cases in Wuhan, I think you read numbers, suddenly it's jumping to 15,000, something like that. That is because before there's a lack of hospital resources and a lot of people being diagnosed and have nowhere to go, no hospital, no bed, no treatment. So they have to try themselves to find a way. It's good that there's a lot of Chinese doctors. They are online and to set up group to guide them how to use Chinese traditional medicine to saving their life. Actually, they have good effects. This time, because for the health system in China, it's always Western medicine dominate. But anyway, they don't have the effective medicine so far, and even they how to say they say they have this American medicine, but seems there's a very lot of some side effects or something like that. It's just some internal information. I don't know yet. So now the Chinese traditional medicine has taken more role in this. So they also have some doctor teams from Chinese medicine hospital go there to support the province in Wuhan. Yeah, hopefully we can control, but if the government also extend the vacation, but some of the even some of the delivery is not working. So I think right now most of the factory still are not open, and for some situation, for some city or like close to the virus cases, and they block the whole community, such as my community. There's one family, the son has taken flight from Taiwan to Wuhan to transfer the flight and come and fly back, and he catch the disease, the virus, and infected his parents first, and then diagnosed him has it later on for 3 letters. And now our community is locked. we only can go out for once in 2 days. Like one family, only one person can go out for once to buy some necessary food or something, and all the other shops are closed by government. So only one supermarket is opened. Yeah, for the One Cup One Life, we have some cases here report successful. We managed to find one lady in Wuhan City after we published One Cup One Life. Yeah, her mom now is recovering. At that time, she said she called he called the what to say emergency car to take her mom to the hospital, but no hospital accept. She tried 5 hospitals, and she had to move her back. So almost in despair, she heard that we have the solution. She want to try. So we managed to get the volunteer knowledge seekers in Wuhan City to make some guns for her, and especially find a volunteer, a guy to help to deliver it to her. And she's starting to spray and try to feed and breathing a little bit. But most of the time she's just spray the body, because they are not so dare to to drink much. And also her mom's lung was damaged so bad, she need the oxygen machine to support her breathing. And the strange thing is, when she said she tried to change this filter water with our gas water, she said her mom cannot breathe, and so they stopped. But all of her family had tried to drink something, and just majorly use spray the face, mouth, and the lung, and the back of the body, and all the furniture, all the environment of their house. And then the second day, she managed to find a Chinese doctor to give her mom some recipe for Chinese medicine, and she managed to feed her mom the Chinese medicine. And now her mom is almost recovered. She said she want food, and she's hungry, and I'm not like catching the time and for feed her, and she can get up and walk and go to toilet by herself, eat by herself. So that's a good news. She's recovering.
What is the situation with the promotion with the internet, with the One Cup, One Life?
Yeah, the internet, we have good support from the Chinese older institution of Beijing Opening University. They help us to publish our the One Cup One Life in their website, and also WeChat platform. But unfortunately, we are getting attacked by a lot of people. They don't believe. Even one of the Tsinghua University chemistry professor, and he wrote an article to say like our technology is fake science. And she said it's just the primary chemistry experiment. and then the internet, they have a lot of news like to say we are fake or something blah blah. So we met a lot of problem to promote. And also when our volunteer or knowledge seeker try to spread the information in some groups, they get kicked out or they get cursed. dirty words, or even one of like the police had warned them, like don't release this kind of information. So actually we feel a little bit frustrated, although we have our good heart, try to help the nation, try to help the people, but since the technology is not being accepted by most of the population.
What is the position with the government, military?
Actually, yeah, we have actively to approach the government side. I think you know that you had signed a letter to the president and the prime minister, and then when we deliberate the document, they pass to the health organization and ask them to evaluate. And we have approached the officers of the health administration, and they tried very hard. And then they said they're going to the expertise to evaluate the technology. And then we're
Can I
waiting.
ask you? Can I ask you a question? What's happening with Shanghai hospital?
Shanghai, yeah, they said that they're gonna to accept that. Well, maybe they're gonna to start some cases now. The newest information is they don't want to try. They want to maybe to mass applied in Shanghai hospital for like some not so serious cases, because one of the Chinese doctor, he is trying to mix our Gans water with his Chinese medicine, and he feel could be very good. And he already managed to cure several cases, like have some lightly symptoms at the early stage. So he is confident to move ahead with our technology. So we have two hospitals now. They said they maybe gonna to try. One is Beijing Ditan
That's
Hospital.
okay, but don't mention names because you have to keep it out of the way. What is the position with the knowledge seekers?
Actually, all the knowledge seekers, they are very active, and they produce more and more GANs, and everybody come and show what they made. And we also managed to teach some newcomer to learn to make their own GANs in the first time. So we have a QQ group. Now we all have about 1,100 people in that group. Every day, people was there to discussing some techniques, how to make the one cup one life GANs.
What's the position with Tencent News?
Yeah, that is very funny. It's just like in one day, because the click of the article and the video of this one cup one life reached I think more than 10,000 in couple days. And then we suddenly found there's Tencent News to say like to say we have the one cup one life solution for the virus. And yeah, and then because of this university chemical professor said it's a fake science. And then the second day, this Tencent News said this is a rumor, this is a fake science. So actually we we don't know how to say. Yeah.
But did they take it off, or is it still there?
Yeah, it's still there, and they spread more and more platform. They say we are fake science. That's very pity.
How is the population taking it?
Some people believing, and some people not. But I think most of the knowledge seekers, they come back because they apply this technology for many years. They know it works. It's some people, because now we have a program to collect all the signature and the testimony, and we try to maybe deliver it to the government to show that we a lot, like thousands of people had already applied to this technology to help people. Why? This just a chemical professor, they know nothing about plasma technology, and he said it's a fake, and all the nation or all the news accept it. That's a strange thing.
So one man has done, because he's a professor and he's done that.
Oh, in China, people believing academician, believing professors in the university. That's normal.
Any other news?
No. Well, some Chinese people ask for the translation.
Okay. Do you want to translate for them?
Yeah. OK， 那我开始先生问了一下中国的这边的情况，就是一个整体的疫情的情况。整体的疫情情况，就是说我们在湖北之外的这些省份都已经有一些下降，就是湖北这2天突然爆出来，15000多吧，一个很高的数字。那是因为过去积压的这些人，现在被统一的，都要去识别，然后统一的放在这几个医院还有这个酒店来收治，那么这个造成了这个数字的增高。那么我们还有就是各个政府的这个控制会变得越来越严，像一些有发现疫情的小区整个小区都是隔离的，严格控制人员出入。就像我们这个小区，它已经有发现一个家庭感染了，所以就每户只能出1个人，2天出去1个人来做一些采购。Can you hear me?
We had an issue with the bandwidth there, I think, and it was distorted. We could hear you, but I think the translation would be distorted. You might want to say some of it again. Try it again.
I think it's okay in China. It's just for us on this side.
Well, that could be. Yeah.
Because she's on the QQ on the other side. Carry on. Manglin? Hello? Is she still with us?
She'll have to unmute her mic, I believe. We can't.
Can you
I'll try to unmute
open?
her.
Can you unmute her?
It's not working to unmute. Oh, there she is.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep, carry on.
Okay. So but I think the government is a very high efficiency. 就是政府为了控制这个，就是做了很多的事情，然后来控制这个疫情的蔓延，这个小区的监管越来越严格。那么后续的话，我们可能他现在问到一些医院的事情，我们可能会有2家医院，打算来试用我们的这个干丝技术，结合这个中药。还有就是谈到了这个武汉的那个一个确诊案例的这个 case， 这个案例它就是母亲被确诊了之后，就是一直没有办法得到医院的收治，所以他打了这个急救车去了5个医院都没有办法，就是很绝望的拉回了家。所以他当时知道我们有这个方案之后呢，他也愿意尝试然后我们的武汉的志愿者 就把这个做了干丝，然后也是因为武汉都已经封城了嘛，专门找了另外的一个朋友去帮忙去送到这个病人的家里，然后病人他们全家都有在喷身上、喷脸、口腔、肺部跟背部，然后有少量的喝一些，然后他妈妈有就是试图用这个呼吸瓶就是过滤氧气呼吸，但是他感觉好像不是很舒服，就是不知道是就是这个压力或者什么样关系。本来我们是希望他直接就是不要氧气，但是他又不敢去拔这些东西，他是说哇，好不容易买到了这样一个二手的输氧机，所以他不敢动。那就是有喝一点点，然后每天就是大量的喷，然后家庭的喷洒，然后有结合这个中药的治疗，现在这个病人已经好了。就基本上，就是已经可以自己起床吃饭、上洗手间，然后而且胃口还不错啊，不断的想要吃东西，所以这个案例就是一个比较好的一个状况。那么而且他家人呢，有4个人是住在同一个房子里的，这4个人目前都没有任何的这个感染的症状。那距离我们发给他也已经有超过1个星期了。对，有谈到那个我们在网络推广的情况，因为我们跟北京开放大学的老年学院，就是他们帮我们在推荐这个技术。那早期就是我们的这个点击量在几天之内就上到了1万个点击量以上，然后整几篇文章接近2万个。后来腾讯就把我们的这个上了腾讯新闻，但是呢没有2天。就因为这位清华大学的化学教授，写了一篇文章，说我们是伪科学，小学生的这个化学实验，结果呢就被这个成了辟谣，成了就是腾讯又说我们是伪科学，好多个平台也在转发，说我们是伪科学，所以造成了我们这个推广的困难。而且我们很多的这个技术寻求者也都反映，在跟身边的人或者是在跟这个一些这些社区做推广的时候，有的是被辱骂，有的是被踢出来，还有的有警察警告的，这种情形都有发生，就造成我们的推广比较困难。Okay, I think I summarized most of the information.
What is the position with the knowledge seekers and working with the government and military?
Actually, we don't know yet because some knowledge seekers receive a call from some other knowledge seeker. They said they have the army and some officer of the health administration and some scientists from China academician or blah blah. They are set up. They have a company or something like that. Want to mass production gas in huge amount. They want to reach 1 ton per day, and and we don't know how they're gonna to do. It seems like they have some project already in this in Wuhan city to do the garbage cleaning, and they have the products to be applied, and then seems they had tried gas water to get tested in some Beijing testing organization, and they said gas water has a very effective for killing the virus and the bacteria. So they're getting shipping the products to as a disinfection products there. And yes,
What with the military, you mean?
They mentioned, but nobody knows who is who.
But have they start collaborating with them, the knowledge seekers?
We don't know. Because we told them, like, if you want to mass production, as Keshe Foundation can help government to do. But since these guys think they can handle it, so they refuse the.
Okay, any other news? How is the population feeling?
Oh, actually, I don't know how to say. Because different places, people has different feeling. If you are asking for the Wuhan city, I think the news announced today we changed the head of the the whole Hubei provinces. And a couple of days ago, we changed the head of the health administration and disease control center. Because the central government had sent a group there.
How is they feeling in China on the streets?
Nobody's on the street. Chinese is very follow the government, and also because they don't have any way effectively control the disease. So the best way is nobody go out.
The whole nation is shut down.
Yeah, actually.
Factories?
Most of factories, they're not allowed to open. Even I told you our corporate factory, they said they get the request, they get an order to support the new hospital built in Wuhan, but the local government don't allow them to produce.
Till when this is going to happen?
I don't know. I think if government think the situation is under control, they will open more and more.
But when is going to be lifted, these moves, you think?
Nobody knows. God knows, I think.
So in each area, you have only one supermarket open, more or less.
Yeah,
in your area.
yeah. In my, yeah, I think not only one, maybe another one, just some like necessary, like medicine, pharmaceutical shop is open. The supermarket is open. The all other shop is closed.
What is the position of government in respect to this? What Chinese say?
I think there's a sign like more and more military to be involved in that area.
Anything else? Do we have any other knowledge? Do you have any other knowledge seekers from China online?
Yeah, you can ask Rick to mention. Normally we have couple Chinese knowledge seekers in Zoom.
Do you see any? Rick?
There's
Do you want me to
a couple
to
people.
translate?
Can you see the attendees, Ruthie?
It's better I don't move my screen because I'm recording and transfer.
Right. I think
so you can announce if any chat.
We're seeing Zhang Shao Shao. He's on the panel.
There were two at the end of the attendees
I
list.
can ask. Let me ask in Chinese if somebody want to talk on Zoom. Okay.
If they have any questions, yeah.
We have a
Yeah.
Kelly.
在 Room 上面的知识寻求者，如果你们想要，就是有没有在线，想不想谈一下，这个情况，你们可以，在 Room 上面发言。
we have four panelists who have a microphone. You move them to the other side. There is Jing Xiao. Do you see him?
Shao Ji, is she
Yeah.
allowed to talk? Yeah, okay. There were two at the end of the attendees list, but as soon as we said if there's any Chinese here, they disappeared. So I thought that they might have.
Yeah, they moved up to the top. I mean, Chao is there.
Yeah, they've been promoted. I see.
Yeah, Chao, she's there. Nothing from other Chinese.
就是中国这边的朋友有什么想问的，可以在 Room 上面提问。Or you want them to ask in QQ group, so I can.
Yeah, if there is any questions, anything they want us to know.
OK，就是现在 QQ 群内的朋友，如果你们有问题的话，可以打字提问。
Nope.
Somebody is asking you, is still cooperate with Chinese government?
Do you want to answer them?
I don't know.
No, I said you are the head of the Keshe Foundation. Are you cooperating with Chinese government?
Yes.
Do you want not to disclose or to disclose?
I think we are still trying to do a lot of things in different level.
You're very diplomatic.
Yeah， 就是关于跟中国政府的合作方面，我们应该是在不同的层面，我们还是继续在展开跟中国政府的合作。Somebody is asking, is the Keshe Foundation has a idea to call the volunteers go to Wuhan for antivirus? I think you cannot do that. Is army controlled. You can move a bit, one step. 就是我说志愿者去进入武汉的这个事情，这是不可能的，因为就算他们在武汉当地的人都没有办法出门去做这个送这个干湿水啊这些的行为。都已经变得越来越困难，其实他们都会被锁定起来，所以这个是不太可能。所以唯一可能的就是就是他们当地的人愿意去学习，自己学，然后自己做这样。Somebody is asking, because in the Chinese salt. They have adding some chemical things for prevent to be solid. They are asking if that impact the gans.
Depends what chemicals there are.
I told you it's no, normally we heard that it's something not good for health. It's
we don't usually have that. I never heard of it before.
Especially, I don't know, it's in China, it's very normal. They put the anticoagulants.
Not to stick, yeah. Depends
Yeah.
what they use. Depends what they use.
就是这个抗凝剂要取决于这个抗凝剂对肝丝的影响，抗凝剂要取决于是什么样的这个化学物质在里面。
Any other question?
I don't think it's good. They say it's a chemical.
How do the knowledge seekers feel in their own places?
开始先是想问，就是这些知识寻求者在你们自己的地方你们感觉怎么样？
We got Chao online. Chao?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi. How is the feeling from your side in China?
I think it's a very serious like virus situation, and so the government is controlling everything, and I think because of this issue, like more and I found some people who was not interested in the gas technology. Some of them are some like businessman or some like professor, and now they have they want to have a try and they want to do some tests by themselves, and so probably this issue would like if we approve that it how to say, because the Chinese people now lots of people are infected, and many people have the awareness that the present medical technology are not enough to handle the viruses. So people are thinking about some new ways, and they are more open-minded, and so probably some of them will accept the gas technology in the next step.
What is your interaction with them?
There was one professor from agriculture university, and he was interested to test the effect of the gas technology on bacteria and viruses on plants in the next step when his lab is open, because now the universities and the labs, most of them are closed right now. They are waiting for the permission from the government to open that, and so and also there are some other researchers from the traditional plasma technology. They are getting more interested in this technology.
How is the situation in your area? Probably.
Yeah, I'm in a rural area, and it's a small city, and we found someone who get infected in the not in our city, but another city close to us. But the patient invited some like his relatives to his family for dinner, and so our city is kind of closed. Like every community, they only open one door, and people from one family can go outside for one time every 2 days to buy the food and others. And so it's kind of people are locked inside to isolate themselves. And other my area is not so like not so serious, and so we have enough medical resources for very little patients.
But do you see people on the street? Or it's just what they go to shop and come back?
No, almost there are outside. There are no people outside, and they go to buy something and get back home very fast, not spending time hanging outside. And a lot of the and I think all the restaurants and some entertainment places are closed.
Do you see an end to this?
I don't know. As you said, the situation of virus will be dependent on the environment. When it's get warmer, for example, in April, probably the situation will be better. So I think we probably might need to wait more time.
Anybody else? Nothing on the QQ? Manglin?
Hi,
Nothing on QQ?
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, most of the knowledge seekers says they have been locked at home for 3 weeks now. And a lot of people still asking more technical details about how to make the guns.
What are the questions?
Some people say it's very, very slow to make the gas in 7 days. And some people, yeah, they are asking is the potassium ferrocanide, because in China, a lot of salt, they had adding this potassium hexanoferrate. Yeah.
What is the chemical binding of it?
They think this is damaged the health, so they are worried.
No. What is the chemical binding of it? Does anybody know? Rick, can you find out what is
potassium ferrocanide or potassium hexanoferrate?
Do you mean potassium hexacyanoferrate?
Yeah.
It's CYANO, right? It's got a C in there. Cyanoferrate. Is it one of the other? There's a hexfluorophosphate, or is it the hexacyanoferrate? If you can spell it and put it in the chat, that would be best. I can look that up. It doesn't sound good. with the cyano in there, it indicates it's different. Oh, it's an actual food additive. Let's see. I think I've got information on it here. Shall I put it up on the screen, Mr. Keshe, or do you want to get
Yes,
into that?
please.
Okay. Oh, you're gonna like the structure, I think. Let me just share it. Can make it a little bigger so you can see. So when I looked up the, it's under a different name. They must show the other name here too. Let me just see. Maybe it's in this one. When I looked up potassium hexacyanoferrate,
现在讲的氢氧化亚铁氢化钾
is that what it was? Is that the word you were referring to?
potassium ferrocanide or potassium hexanoferrate.
Right, same thing, right?
That's the same thing, yeah.
Which is the same as that. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's a chemical compound with the formula K3FeCN6. So a bright red salt contains the octahedrally coordinated FeCN6 3- ion. And that's what the structure looks like.
Can you take that bigger print out?
The bigger print?
Yeah, it's okay. It's moved now.
Okay.
If by looking what's in it,
看它是里面的这个是什么东西。
this material is
看它那个
actually is compound structure, field structure.
它的这个复合的架构。
It's a safer structure. Actually, it's beneficial due to its
这个是个安全
potassium
的，
and iron.
它有钾还有铁。
If you use it as a GANS compound, it gives you a very good position, especially psychological
它会
and
从心理
emotionally.
上和情感上有一个很好的状况。
Can you stop there, please? Don't move, don't move. This is a potassium positive plus carbon with iron, which
然后加上铁还有钾，
which in GANS state,
在这个干斯态
the potassium is, especially in this time of a lot of psychological pressure with the situation,
尤其是现在这个人们有很多的这个心理问题，
it has a double effect, especially when it touches with the sodium chloride, which is the salt,
他们
which
跟那
gives
个
you
氯化钠盐
is
去结合，
it's effective both ways for
它
as
会
a
同时影
GANS
响
supplement, disinfecting the body
它
and
的干
enhancing
斯的影
immunity.
响
If you have such a compound
高。如果
in a GANS state,
如果在干斯态的这样一个复合物的话，
this is highly beneficial. Don't have any worries
它不用担
because
心，这是一个很有好处的，
you have all the combination of material you have.
因为
You
你
have a
有这些
potassium,
沟通的原料，然后你有
you have high level of potassium,
你有
which highly
你有钾，你有很高
effective. It's highly effective in emotional conditions with the potassium, and you have a chloride combination with potassium, which is actually it's a bacteria killing agent, which creates by self-releasing NA for its for what they call it, for its use. This as a GANS state, if you have in the salt, it's actually a beneficial thing. It brings a lot of emotional stability, and with it, it has a compound with amino acid link with chloride. Don't worry about it. This is not a problem. It's actually if you have it in your GANS, it's beneficial for a bacteria side of the infection. Can you hear me? Banglin?
We can hear you. I think
yes, because I think they tried to block me before, so there's still a sign to show like my microphone is not working.
No. Flint turned off the mic so that we could hear Mr. Keshe better, and you could still hear him and speak without interfering or whatever.
It was aspiring.
I wasn't sure if you were listening to her and trying to pace with her.
Do you want to translate, Lynn? I think Lynn.
I'm translating. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a beneficial compound in the salt, especially in the GANS state.
对，这个如果是在干斯态的话，跟这个盐结合是有好处的。
No problem with that.
没有问题。Somebody is asking the method to use the 1 cup 1 life to create life.
Yes, if you can do yes.
They want to know the way.
I think China has enough population, you don't need to add another life to it.
就是刚才说用一杯一命创造生命的方法，凯先说中国的人口太多了，所以说不需要再用它来创造更多的生命了。And some people is asking the way to make a big amount of amino acid.
The only way you can make huge amount of amino acid is use a bigger pot, bigger surface.
然后 就是说想要生产更多氨基酸的方法，你就得要用一个更大的容器，更大表面积的容器。
Regularly clean the amino acids from the top.
然后定期的在顶上去收集这些氨基酸。
You have to look for your salt, what you call salinity, that stays always constant.
还要保持一定的这个盐度，盐的这个盐度。
A lot of, I've taught this before, a lot of you knowledge seekers don't what you don't see is that
很多知识寻求者看不到。
very strange. I cannot reach my board. Okay, I use a different way to reach it. I think when you make your boxes,
当你做盒子的时候
when you make boxes and you collect your CO2 at the bottom,
你在底下收集你的二氧化碳。
in your water, when you have with your amino acid on the top,
在你的水里，然后上面有这个氨基酸。
this CO2 which you collect at the bottom
你在底下收集的二氧化碳
has a combination of the O2.
然后呢，它有这个2个氧的这样一个结合。
You create between your plates a condition of the carbon.
所以在你的2个板子之间，你产生了碳的条件。
Which take the oxygen from the water.
然后从这个水里面吸收了氧。
To create you the CO2.
然后就产生了二氧化碳。
It takes in some of the oxygen and some of the carbon from atmosphere.
然后它从这个空气中又吸收了一些氧和碳。
And after a while, you might see at the bottom of your pot some white materials like bone,
也
calcium.
许过不了多久，你可能会在底层搜集到一些像这个骨头一样的这个钙的这种白色的东西。
And you find salinity, the taste of the water here becomes sweet. It's not salty anymore.
然后你就发现你的盐水变淡了，就不再咸了。
When this salinity, through the change of production of CO2, takes place, the amino acid production stops.
就是当这个盐度降低了之后，上面的氨基酸就不再生产了。
It's a combination of the amino acid and salinity.
就是氨基酸跟这个盐度是有关系的。
And the change in the oxygen creation of CO2,
然后
which
改变这个
does not sustain the fields for carbon to be pulled from the atmosphere, and you stop production of CO2 and amino acid.
然后就是把这个氧吸过去，然后就造成它就是跟碳结合了之后，没有办法从空气中吸收更多的这个碳进来的时候，那整个干丝的生产也停止了，然后氨基酸的生产也停止了。
Depending on the temperature of the room, depending on the carbon and the salinity, you see the production of the amino acid changing.
就是跟房间的温度、环境的温度，还有这个里面的盐度，然后你会看到它这个生产的这样一个变化。
If you're not producing much CO2, you can't produce much amino acid.
如果你二氧化碳生产的多的话，你的氨基酸也不可能生产很多。
So if you produce CO2 in a closed room, your production of amino acids is much less.
所以如果你是在一个封闭的房间里面去生产的话，那你的氨基酸也会生产的很少。
If you live in a city, you produce more amino acid. If you live in a rural area, you produce less amino acid and less CO2.
然后，如果你在城市里面，你可以生产更多的二氧化碳和氨基酸，但是如果你在更遥远的地方，这个山区或者什么，你就生产的二氧化碳和氨基酸就会更少。
And if you have a circulation, you produce more CO2 of what I call airflow.
如果你可以有这个就是空气的循环的话，那么你就可以生产更多的这个二氧化碳。
Airflow has to come from outside the building, not inside.
你是
The,
outside the air
yeah, I mean atmospheric, not room area. You can't put a
对它
fan next to it and increase it. The air has to come from outside.
必须要从屋外来的空气，所以大家可能要把这个窗户打开。
If you have plants in the house, a lot of plants, and is many people, you produce more CO2s. If you hardly have any plants, and you what do you call it? It's just one person in the house. You don't produce that much CO2 to be absorbing. Even the field is in the pot, in the container, but there's no carbon to absorb.
对，如果你是一个人在家，然后家里也没有很多植物的话，那么你生产的这个二氧化碳干丝就会很少，因为
And you,
空气中没有足够的碳来吸入到这个干丝包。
in the environment when there is many plants or trees, you find you produce a lot of CO2 sometime after 4 o'clock in the afternoon till the early morning, and during the day you don't produce that much.
如果你周围是有很多的树或者植物的话，你会发现你是在下午四五点钟以后到第二天早上生产的这个二氧化碳比较多，然后白天的时候生产的比较少。
So you need the flow of the CO2 to be able to absorb the amino acid, pull it in.
就是你需要这个流动的这个二氧化碳，然后来生产更多的这个氨基酸。
Any other question?
Somebody asked Mr. Cash, can you talk about your point of view of this virus in China, and what we can do as a knowledge seeker?
The point is, as you know, with the situation with this academician who is paid from outside to do these articles,
就是这个写这个文章的专家，他是外面的人付钱让他去写这个文章的。
you got to understand, there is a clear pattern coming up, and we have raised our concern with the Chinese government. If we look at a very clear data, what do you call it? Rec. You can put this data up. I sent you. Just wait. I send you data. We have a lot of concern, and we explain to you what is going on and what you have seen this academician coming up with this. We'll tell you the background behind it. And this situation has to be resolved very soon, and we will resolve it very soon. We bring it to public especially. That's why I let Wang Lin to explain the situation to you, what has happened in China. I want to show you something. This is in the hand of CPC. It's not something which is hidden. It's a public knowledge. But I want to explain to you something. Rick, can you put this what I put up for you, please? This is up to now, the latest. It's on your secure line. I will explain to you something, especially for Chinese. Do you want to share? And then I share, yeah. You take the screen to paste and glue, or glue, what do you call it? Copy and paste on it. What is interesting, and I deliberately allowed Wang Lin to explain to you what is happening and why this academician has put this thing out. A lot of Chinese academicians are paid by the American organizations, many of them, to block anything comes in except American medication. And they are putting a lot of fake, because they're accommodation and they've been paid into their American accounts to put these things out, to block any organization which comes with anything. We, in the future, will check and we'll let you know what is their position. There's a biggest fear in CPC and the Chinese. Do you want to translate, Wang Lin, in the background? Yeah?
I am translating in the background,
yeah.
so you can.
There is a huge concern. That's why I said we're talking to the government in the background. Many, many academicians who are American trained and they have a voice and they get paid in their American accounts privately are blocking anything which comes in, like Keshe Foundation, to promote American injection. What we have seen with part of the American injection is that some of the patients, after receiving the injection, they feel good. But in a few days after they go home, they die of lack of oxygen, up to 20%. And we have seen a couple of cases like this, which is come up, but the rest has not, they just die. Wang Lin, can you explain the cases on this?
Yes, I am following to translate the concurrently in the background, so you can go ahead.
Yeah, can you explain to us with the drivers who die from lack of oxygen?
Which driver?
The people in China who die with 20% oxygen level.
Yes, it is said that like the most patient die because of less oxygen level. Yeah.
This graph on the screen is a horrendous picture to look. Keshe Foundation and some international organizations, we are monitoring this. You got to understand, Keshe Foundation operates not just in China, but across the world, and we have a close contact and operation with a lot of scientists, which we will never bring in public because of what we've seen they've done. Hooligans in Belgium, they kill and they've killed. And so we protect our scientists. If you look this figure, they're all Chinese. One death in America is an American. As far as we know, he has received the injection from the American virus. All, more or less, are Chinese or Chinese descendant line. This virus is tailor-made to race. We have informed the Chinese government and many, many of fears have grown up. What we were afraid of, we see. Hitler tried to make a race virus, and now we see it. People who are infected, non-Chinese, recover, but death appears in the Chinese race only. It's a flu, it can take hold. One of our concern, which is raised with Chinese government in the background, is that there is a concern, as Chao said, that they're hoping that it'll go away by summer, or it gets warm. This is the pattern of the virus. Usually when it gets warm, it goes away. But there is a problem. We could be 100% wrong, but we could be right. That factor we cannot ignore. First of all, Americans are paying a lot of academicians, to the special academicians, PhD to their students free in America, or PhD places for their scientists in America. This scientist who's written the paper on Keshe Foundation has that track record. So we know how it came about. Secondly, the position is that Americans filled the Chinese environment with pig swine flu over past 2 years. There is a very, very distinct separation between the swan flu and this flu. Why swan flu is hauled and crossed into China during the summertime is because it's a heat flu. There is a difference between a heat flu and a cold flu. In China, spreading the heat flu and now this cold flu, there is a fear, there is a concern that these two flus might merge sometime in March, April, and we'll see the death toll will carry on. The infection in what you call China will not stop. This concern has risen higher in the past 48 hours. We have seen now flu in Christian communities and not in the Muslim communities like in Indonesia. Pig consuming nations which already been hit by pig flu. When Gates released this to reduce population, in his calculation he made a fatal mistake. This flu now has become to protect the Muslims, which they do not touch pigs. And if what we see in past 48 hours and what we see on this data takes hold and runs into summer, and if there are 2 or 3 nations here which might add into Romania, Poland, Russia is already in it, then my fear grows bigger. These are the Christian nations who've been infected by pig flu. So we might see continuation of this flu into summer through the pig flu infection and carrying across Northern Europe. This is one of the biggest concerns at the moment internationally on this move. And we have to be very, very vigilant. So when we saw this article appears by this professor, we immediately put securities on him. He's been offered PhDs for his students in the United States, write a paper. You remember that professor who wrote a paper and he supported for years. And in the background, we found out he was getting paid heavily. Now he's in prison. He was aware of the dangers of it. This professor in China who's written this paper is an American-based, finance-backed. I wonder how many of his students will pay for their lives. But if this goes through, you will see will go very drastic. The biggest problem for our concern is if the two flus link up. There is a possibility of linking. And this possibility with the last 48 hours has increased drastically. And what we see is what came out to damage China through the pig flu coming down, now will go back to the Christian nations, which have been a heavy consumer of pig products in the summer. This could not happen, but what we saw in Indonesia in past 48 hours tells us to be correct. Knowledge seekers across the world start preparing all your, what we call, cup of life. And in due course, we handle this professor in the right way. You don't sell your nation for a few PhDs. This is the same concern as I have as we speak in the background to the Chinese leaders. They've been sold internally by some American supporters of Chinese blood. The figures in China is much bigger, but that's the responsibility of the Chinese government. We support the Chinese government. And on the other hand, I want to open a channel directly to His Excellency President Xi of China. One of the blockages of the Keshe Foundation by the Chinese administration has nothing to do with Keshe Foundation except me as a Iranian scientist. Through, as I explained earlier, national security, international security, and meetings we have with national securities in conjunction with international affairs of the Keshe Foundation, is that sometime in recent past, His Excellency President Xi has fallen out with President Ayatollah Rouhani of Iran. And Keshe Foundation has got trapped in it. The situation is 100% in favor of Chinese. We understand it. But on the other hand, we understand politics has no mother and no father. Our concern in Iranian national security, understanding in the Chinese is China stood by Iran from the beginning of the revolution as a friend. And President Xi feels he was betrayed by the Rouhani administration in moving towards America, as he was American educated. And for that reason, China has put a huge sanctions on Iran, much, much worse than the rest of 5+1. This situation has nothing to do with us, and Keshe Foundation has got trapped in it. And this is why Chinese government in even CPC and the highest level of the administration use the gas waters. They are making the cuts, but officially the line is that the Chinese will not support any technology which is coming from Iran due to behavior of the Iranian president or change of line by the presidency of Iran. And there is a concern in Iranian national security, there is a concern in Chinese security. This is affecting the nation. Sooner or later we'll find a position. Sooner or later we'll find a solution. But this is how Keshe Foundation is strapped in. And this academician will be handled in due course once we open his book and once the securities go further with it. And it's just one man, and 2 or 3 academicians back him. They're all American educated, backed, financed, PhD promised. He will be arrested for murder in due course by CPC, and the government will announce, and you will understand, track his life. The whole concept is not China. Keshe Foundation is one nation. So if you live in Russia, you live in Germany, you live in Poland, and everywhere else, Indonesia and Philippines, and you have heard in your area there has been a pig flu in past 2-3 years, most probably you have consumed it. Just keep a cup handy summertime. I'm let's say 90% hoping not be there, but that 10% and what we done test on viruses is extremely strong. Viruses link up like the bacteria do to amino acid. Viruses have a habit of finding the commonest denominator of energy. What our fear is the pig flu has managed to connect to amino acid of a pig. This flu has managed to connect with the amino acid of human, but we have linked it by eating them. There is one big problem. Muslims don't eat pig. Bill Gates, Rothschilds, and the rest have sown a seed for annihilation of Christianity. And this is what was not taught. In many ways, my concern is this, sits here, and we'll take this step further. But as knowledge seekers, I deliberately brought Wang Lin for you to understand. Never discuss what she was going to say, that you could see a true picture. And in the background, we give you the knowledge. You got to realize many top scientists live a comfortable life due to the money is paid by organizations to promote. And many rich people, they think they can play the game of their money with their power. Gates believes the world is overpopulated, especially by Chinese. Inside his structure and his brains, there is a misfunction somewhere that he thinks he can control the population, and he has a vendetta against Chinese because Chinese copied most of his things and he couldn't become richer. And this vendetta has got worse since the new richest man in the world has appeared. He lost his position. And Chinese have copied all his works they could do, and he sees Chinese as part of his ego trip of being the richest is gone. Now is a revenge time. This will not pay, but if you, as what you see here, what is amazing me is very, very interesting. Look at all the names here. Take UAE out, which has been a high traffic Chinese, something like 500,000 per million plus Chinese go through UAE due to Emirates Airlines 380 for 500 passengers, China to Europe hub, one night stay, and all the affected one except one Filipino who's a Chinese descendant, they're all Chinese, is a horrendous figure you see. Singapore and Malaysia are Chinese part of mixture. The rest are Christian nations. Now you understand our concern. Now you understand Bill Gates has put a root in the wrong place. And my hope and my wishes are that the technology of Keshe Foundation and the systems we have delivered to the Chinese government, and hopefully within the next few days will be announced by another nation to support this internationally. Most of the nations, Christians, are already embedded. And this is one of my biggest fear. And this will create a mayhem. Hong Kong, Thailand, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Australia, Germany, Vietnam, United States, France, Macau, United Kingdom, Canada, Italy, Philippines, India, Russia, Spain, Finland, Nepal, Cambodia, Sri Lanka, Sweden, Belgium. I think Gates has shot the Christianity in the foot and the head. Let's see what happens. But I have always been outspoken and most of the time proven to be correct. This virus, if switches, it came down the north. Americans spread it this way during the summer. And what we see now is Black Death will go very much this way from south of China up into Europe. When it came down, it killed the pigs. When it goes back, it will kill the man. All the Keshe Foundation Chinese, Europeans, be prepared for if we have to see danger. The biggest problem is this. If this is established, we will see the Black Plague in Europe in the next 2 to 4 years. The strangest thing is, in China, we see some indication of this. And I've asked my security to look into this. Here, and here. Number one is highly Islamic part of the China, and this side, number two, is mainly not. What we are looking at, if the death toll and contaminated people are mainly Buddhist, Taoist, and what is the percentage of Muslims who are infected and died in China? This is something that central government CPC has to provide. Then we have to understand where is the crosslink. Results coming out of the past 48 hours tells us Christians are running with it. What is interesting is all these numbers here are any of the Muslim. Pick and race has gone to kill a religion. This is something our contacts in China have to establish very rapidly through national security in China. We have to see this, because if it stays that way, then the summer is going to be not so comfortable for many, many of you in Western Europe in next 2 to 3 years. The hotter it gets, the more it kills. As a leading scientist in these affairs, we used to consult governments, but as one nation, we consult all of you. Our concern cannot be ignored. There is too much data, too much facts, too much reality, too much of too much of too much. Indicates, I would like to know if there is one in Vatican. But there is a bigger problem with this. They have managed to tailor make this to a race. Would, by whole possibilities, this race will be the next one. And by high possibilities, would this race will go in to wipe out one nation. Germany. I'll explain this to you in the future. This is what, as one nation, one planet, one race, we see all as a family and has to be more or less looked into. Governments don't want to talk about it. Keshe Foundation government talks about it. Because we have to prepare Islamic nations to be ready for this, as we see it tailor-made. We have to see and prepare for it, especially in Russia and Germany. One of our biggest concern is the head of these organizations who brought the spread has to be confined in solitary confinement until we know exactly what they done, the way we did with sterling. How they planned and what is in the background. In upcoming discussions with governments, this will be on the card. We have to establish this in a detail. How many of the people died in China are of a Muslim descent? How many of them have used, are vegetarian and non-vegetarian? And how many of them have been in a condition of the death toll in the South? You've got to realize, as part of the Keshe Foundation structure, and our Chinese colleagues can tell you, something very strange happened during the, what we call pig flu. When the pig flu came into China, pig flu was launched by the Americans to come in this way. There was a reason for it. It came during the coldest time and it came in, so that's why we are concerned. It's a hot flu, but it was running through the cold time. What happened in China is that the pig farmers here bought, sold the infected pigs and shipped down to the south to be sold cheaper with more money. So most of the infected pigs which consumed is here. And this is where we see concentration of the virus. Chinese government has lost track, too busy to see these kind of things. And now we see the spread. The farmer sold the pig and it came entered the, what do you call it, the chain. The business people brought it down and sold it at a higher rate. And all the infected pig is in this area. Exactly where we see the high level of virus. And the Americans monitored this, that they could create a confusion. But it's not confused anymore, it's very clear. And our Chinese government officials in the background listening, my advice is to speak to Wang Lin and to the Keshe Foundation Secure Operation outside China. We need to get this sorted because when it goes back up, it will kill everyone across right to Europe. Russia has a concern. My biggest Russia is I love Russian structure. I worked there for many years and I hope will not get damaged. Russia has lost 10% of its pig farm to this flu. So that won't go. And during the summertime will float back. It needs one season to incubate, second season will come. This is where we sit. Those of you who live in France, in Germany, in United States, anywhere you see these, look at two things. Chinese descendant received injection from the Americans, Christian and Muslim. And then the name of the man who wants to depopulate. He will depopulate America and Western Europe, where his name was his anger with China. He bought the patent. You know, in olden days, people bought artists' copyrights to be proud. This man has bought copyright to death and he will receive it himself. This is a genocide planned out. And the rule of the United Nations is the head of genocides have to appear on certain quote. Now you understand my concern. You're Christian, you eat pig, you live in North Europe, you live in Philippines, and what we call South Central Asia. You're all wonderful. Vietnam, Korea, Japan, through connections with China, has received it. Macau, Taiwan, you're at risk because you're not Christians, but as part of the tradition, you consume pig. And if you've seen pig in your country reported with a virus of the pig flu, you're vulnerable during the heat of the summit. This was our biggest concern. How this flu will behave in the warm countries and in what has appeared in what we call Philippines and in Taiwan, Singapore, has raised a lot of alarms from me. I look at it as a one family, and this family is in distress. As I said, I brought for you to hear the truth directly from the Keshe Foundation Chinese. And in a way, it was a nice way when Lin put it very honestly, what the problem is, where the problems is with Keshe Foundation. But in time, these what we call academicians and financing of their accounts and their PhDs and the rest of whatever the children being taught in America are paid to do, receiving free education for their family, all will be opened up. This academician is well paid, well looked after by the Americans. And it's the job of the Keshe Foundations to open his hand, how he's betrayed his nation and causing so much death. This academician has to come under question very tightly. And we have the documents, we can go a long way with him. I hope it was worth a PhD. We come to another point in the Keshe Foundation. As you know, we come to our 7th year, beginning of. And in that process, we enter another phase of teaching in the KFSSI. And many of you have enrolled into KFSSI and now you're joining certain research groups. We allow you another week or 2 weeks in the research groups to work your way, find out if you really want to be in the group, you really want to be in the group, and then we lock the groups down. It means you can come in, but you cannot participate. You do not stay as a part of the group. And after next month, some of your groups, which we have interested, what we call it, parties, will be linked to different institute organizations around the world. So we link the Keshe Foundation to university research centers. I don't go out to say which one of the 23, 24 is going to be. This is what we don't want to get everybody into one place. We have noted the first group which has stayed, picked up and stayed. And then some of your groups gradually in next few weeks will be linked up to masters and PhD research groups inside major universities around the world. This is how I'm bringing the Keshe Foundation into international scientific organization programs. Which means if you're in that group, you're responsible to communicate and do your research and everything else. as a research fellow in the university under supervision of the professors and the facilities they have. So your theoretical thoughts will become part of the work of the university, and the Keshe Foundation will pay for these researchers joining research ventures. So you can understand why I kept it very low key to see those who really want to be part of the research. Now I join you with the backing of the Keshe Foundation into universities as a joint university collaboration. And in some cases, I joined the universities in the background together. So let's say in one group you're doing whatever, you'll be working with 3 or 4 different universities on the same topic, and the 3 or 4 different universities work together with you. So we're making out of it the very dynamic international cooperation for Keshe Foundation. I joined you to the Iranian universities, in some of the Chinese, into Western European universities, in South America and into America. And this is how gradually Keshe Foundation becomes part of the international pivotal point of collaboration and cooperation. This is how we make one nation, all the universities to work together. This is the preliminary, and that's how it states. And very soon you will be joined, and you'll join some of the leading universities across the world, because Keshe Foundation pays for the research, but instead of appointing one student to do the research, Keshe Foundation team become that student. And this is how we allow scientifically international organization evaluate and work and find new solutions and commercials. So Keshe Science students in that background, please understand your position and clarify your what I call position in these groups. But over the next few months, many of your groups will be linked up to major universities and research institutes around the world as we set up collaboration. One of those main ones which we are planning to take is China, then in Iran, then in South America, and then we bring it to European universities. So you'll be working with more and more universities as one team, but it's 8, 10 of you in that team. You work across and you share across the knowledge with the institutes and universities, and then be added to more research and research in the future. Now you understand how, and the reason I brought up the Keshe Foundation into research, that this is the fastest way I can get you into the international research development and data and papers. The agreement with all the universities is the papers will not be peer reviewed. And when it comes to writing the conclusion, each person in the group has a right to write a conclusion or their point of view of the process and what they say. Never been done before, but this way we give a hand and voice to all researchers and does not become peer review and controlled in so many ways. So even the researcher in the university shows his opinion one way, and then 4 of the knowledge seekers like to go the other way. This is your right. Will not be all have to agree on what. So now you understand why I made a Keshe Foundation research and no more basic teaching, and it can go in any shape or direction. Theoretical research, practical research, and in so many ways. The good news is we have found the Keshe Foundation headquarters for Universal Council and the what we call Earth Council and operational headquarters of Keshe Foundation. It'll take us another 6 months, 12 months to finish the whole job. But what I wanted, I have found, which I think secures the future of the foundation. International. Impressive site. It needs to be done a lot too. And we need to raise 100 million to build it, complete it. to be ready for the council to take over. 100 million euro is what it'll cost us. Those who want to participate with the foundation to be part of it. We open a special account for running this, and on the other hand, Keshe Foundation commercial operation will cover part of the cost. But it's open channel worldwide to contribute to the purchase of this center. Completion of it is on the coast, sea open, anyone can come in and go, and no nation can block no man to bring peace. Can accommodate the whole of the Universal Council. And it is absolutely perfect for one race, one nation, and headquarters to be run by head of the Keshe Foundation in the coming months. All the education will move in, the research centers will move in around the area. I've seen it, and this is what was my wish. We open an account for those who want to support the building of the center, purchase of the center, and completion of it. The amount is too heavy for the foundation to support on its own, and we need to reach a capital investments to run, and then through other parts to develop and run the operational US accounts. There is another piece of news for you. As you know, I explained to you, the case of Fabio has reached Italian court, and we will submit evidence to the court to show the murder. And in that process, we hopefully bring the soul of Fabio to peace. The evidence in the hand of the Keshe Foundation is in black and white and directly points to Red Circle. We waited some 3 years, 4 years since his death, and in the coming days we will appear. I've been summoned to appear in the court to give evidence, and the evidence will be submitted to Italian national security, international security, and the courts without a shadow of a doubt. Murder planned and executed, paid for by Red Circle team. We'll show you we don't make accusation. And in that process, sometime within the next 2 or 3 months, you will see a number of people around Europe will be arrested for murder, attempted murder, and organizing a murder. A lot of people are shaking in Belgium. They thought they got away with it, but Italian security and court system and justice did not accept the fake setup of a murder. I have disclosed this to the lawyers of the families in the past 7 days. And Keshe Foundation will take the documents and release it to 3 governments at the same time, that nothing can be blocked in the Italian courts by bribery or whatever. As I told you, I have a lot of patience. We've seen the situation in Belgium changing, a liar king, now he is there, now we bring him into court in Italy for the same purpose. The connection between Red Circle and the people who murdered Fabio is so complete, black and white on the internet, that they thought they hide and they've hidden everything. I thank the Keshe Foundation International Security Framework, which have been with me since 1980s and now moved with me to the Keshe Foundation. They are the cornerstones of my security and have been since I've been a businessman. I trust them in my life, as they advised me not to travel to Mexico last week for the framework they could see in the American administration. The national security of the Keshe Foundation now will submit enough evidence to the Italian courts for an immediate arrest of Red Circle, organizer, paymaster of a murder. We put this in advance because we want them to make certain move, and we are waiting for that move. As you know, I poke and I see when we get. Now we poked. Let them move. We are watching everything. water goes through your mouth, it gets recorded, let alone the word in your head. So as the Keshe Foundation, hopefully we let the soul of Fabio to rest at peace. And we'll see in the next few weeks that the people who thought they got away with many murders, now the pattern of murders right across Europe will be opened up. And a number of people, head of the Belgian government, head of the nation, will be arrested for murder. We will announce to you exactly why and how. And we go for the European Space Agency at the same time. We have enough evidence to support our evidence, and we do not make any allegation. I'll put the evidence, as you see, about the virus in front of you. And now we have come. I waited 4 years to bring the murderers of Fabio to justice. And I know that it has to be done in the court of law and not bribery of security officers inside nations. He was our son, and he was with the foundation as a son of the foundation. He devoted his life to us, and it's our responsibility to deliver peace to his soul. And we have that chance to do, and the evidence is so heavy that I hope that will not get any cover up, and if we do, we go through another court immediately for the arrest of Zertzako as a paymaster for the murder. And we do not talk just to talk, we have the evidence. I explained the evidence to the lawyers of Italian lawyers in past few days, and they know I do not play games. Lying in a court is a criminal offense, and we have no intention to commit a crime or lie to the court. Now I can rest at peace and complete my work and bring technology and knowledge into the hand of the people who understand the beauty of the knowledge. The drivers to kill Fabio were paid 10,000 euro each. That's what his life was worth it. In cash. Red Circle, shake in your shoes. We come for you very soon. Interpol will come, not the Belgian government officers, your friends. Any other question?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. The attendees can raise their hands if they wish to ask a question. Panelists can go ahead if you wish.
Mr. Keshe, some Chinese is asking, you mentioned the African swine fever virus link with the new virus. They're asking, is the cup of life still workable for balance the energy of the virus?
Yes, you go through 2 phases of fever. Be very careful. Wang Ling can tell you, we monitored this It's actually in the report of the swan fever, which was published. Is the head of the Keshe Foundation in the background, Ella? Do we see Ella in the background anywhere? Ella, can you release that if you can access the documents of the pig swine flu? I'll put it on the screen, please. We explained that pig swine flu has a connection with the bacteria and a connection with the virus. Is a double strand. The present flu is a single strand. If the flu connects back to the pig flu, which is already in your body if you consume the pig, it will go back into the double strand. In a way, if you think of it, what we're going to get is this. You have a flu package with double line, and we have another flu with a single line. This one connects to the bacteria. This side connects to energy and link up. In some humans, they will link up. Then what you will see, this link up will create a new condition of three-stranded virus that one sits outside. We can deplete this one quite easily. This we can deplete quite easily. But we can deplete the energy part of this too. So when you get affected, you have one high temperature with a lung damage. Then your cup of life will wipe this out in a very serious way. Then what you will see, this guy will come into play. Here. Then 2 to 3 days later, you get a high fever infection virus, what we call bacteria infection. So you have a bacteria flu, you take your waters and everything else, but now you sort this one out and then you think you're better. Days later, you get hit with another temperature fever, 3 days later. And then you carry on still taking the water, or now you take antibiotics. But CUO, is that your telephone? Yes. Caroline. So you will understand, just 1 second, please. Come in. So what you see is that you get a second high temperature fever. When you see the second high temperature fever, you just take antibiotic or you carry on taking more of CU loaded, what you call gas water. And within 6 days, you will come out of it. And this is the process which we see and we have to promote around the world in the coming time. We hopefully receive the support of one of the major governments in the world within coming days, if again bribery and other things doesn't go to it. And this is the what you are safe. And if you look at the structure, even you Chinese were telling me about the material you have. If you look at the cups teaching a couple of weeks ago, I told you produce magnesium, which is needed. You understand why? Because a lot of you, I know in the background, are reporting diarrhea when you drink the water, which is one of the signs of the virus. This magnesium supports your stomach, and magnesium and potassium are next to each other in line, and they have energy transfer, common denominator, but the spectrum strength. So the potassium in your salt is a savior for you if you have that diarrhea due to the infection. It washes it out and it holds the stomach. So that potassium in the system is a gift to you, don't worry about it. That's why I said you can use it, because in the cup of life, if you go back to the teaching, you produce magnesium. The potassium has a magnetic field strength by 20% variation, which gives you both magnesium and potassium back up. So you Chinese are better off with what is in your salt. This is the pattern we see, and this is a pattern Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers have to follow to safeguard yourself. We give you the knowledge, you have to trust and do it yourself, and the way you do it. Number of knowledge seekers go through it, but the ones we see with a lot of problems is the ones which has connected to the pig flu. We already monitor, we know there is few cases in China which the two has been made, but what has come out of Philippines and Thailand in past 48 hours and in Indonesia has raised alarms of the race and connection to the pig flu. I would like to ask the Chinese National Security Online, please check full data on the background of this professor and the promises he's received for PhDs in the United States for his students. And his background education with it. Then inform the nation that this professor has been paid by the Americans to promote their vaccine and kill more. I think Chinese knowledge seekers have to go on the internet and put his name and put his credibility on question. Then you understand, you change the position drastically. It's your responsibility as knowledge seekers to expose these agents who work against your nation. I know past week, 2 weeks, you took it with a lot of pain, but you have to understand a beautiful technology like this has many enemies who look at their bank accounts. And very strange is that we told our security monitoring this professor is using the gas water his own lab. Very strange. And this is your job to inform your national security and give all the details to them. And all the promises in the bank accounts and his PhDs has been promised he'll be supported for, and his doctorates. Now you know what you have to do as knowledge seekers in China. Expose this man and tell them the cup of life he made to confirm is the one which is drinking himself. Any other question? It's a strange, a few PhDs in a bank account worth the life of a nation to save. I know what they do with them in China. And it's a responsibility of the Keshe Foundation to expose this very rapidly with all the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers, the position of this doctor and the promises he's taken. And why is he drinking from the cup himself, who says nobody to touch? Any other question?
We have a couple of questions in the Q&A here. One from Stephen. Does adding an air bubbler with a pump to the GANs production yield better results?
We do that in mass production, trying to do, but we don't do an air bubble, we do CO2 exhaust. We make the availability of the carbon more. But the gases will do the separation. It's not that the CO2 converts into a gas. Some of it does immediately, it's effective. But essentially, this is a well-known procedure in farming. I was explaining this to some of the knowledge seekers very recently. Actually, our knowledge seekers in Iran, researchers, I was explaining to them the past couple of days. In northern European countries like Holland, where they grow tomatoes indoor, the tomato greenhouses are furnished with a very big gas burners. It's unusual. You see why there's such a huge gas burner in a greenhouse. And they switch this on a couple of times a day, even in the middle of the summer, especially at night. And when they control the light system, they let the heat out, but they push the CO2 exhaust into the building. This increases the harvest and growth of the plant. And in a way, the greenhouses I visited have very effective production. They use it extensively. And in the gas production, if you do a CO2 exhaust pipe, yes. If you can, in a way, connect your a big balloon into the back of your exhaust and slowly reduce it in your CO2 gas production, you'll see a better production. It's the availability of CO2. In one of our labs, they just put a small pump flowing air in from outside the lab inside, and they doubled the production simply by just blowing air in. Is the availability which counts. If you live in the cities and you make your gases on the balcony, you produce like a crazy amount a day. If you live in a rural area and do your CO2 in the room, it's very little. But don't forget, there is a huge understanding that those of you who produce this cup of life, you create an attraction point for viruses, because you're absorbing whatever virus is in there and you're trapping it. You don't pass these to your body, but it becomes and gradually become immune to it. So if you live in China, your cup 100% will absorb parts of the virus of corona, but in a way it becomes non-effective because it becomes ineffective. And when you consume it, you become immune to the thing. And that's why it works, on the other hand, very effectively for these kind of things. When you have infection and viruses like this, put a few cups of this around the house. It doesn't need to go to your body to absorb the virus and trap it. It's in the house first. That's what we do. We spray the house, we spray the furniture. Put this like a trap mouse around the house. Make a few. Especially if you are around the house, you travel in planes and these kind of things, just spray. We had the head of the Keshe Foundation traveling yesterday, and I said to her, just spray the chairs and seats. You don't know who was there and what's in the air. You disinfect yourself. And these droplets, when they touch and there's a virus, and there's always, if there's a virus, has to have the skin of the man or the sweat of the man which they attach themselves to it. You disinfect it, you just trap it in its position. Effectively, you disarm even the plane for the others who might come in and might get it in the future. Any other questions? Chinese knowledge seekers, please expose this academician, because he's put a lot of people's life in danger while he's using the cup in his own office.
We have a question from Svetoslav in the Q&A, who asks, when we make the CO2 setup, if we add a 10% omega-369, for example, to the salt water, will the GAN CO2 get some percent fields of the omega-369? Mr. Keshe, omega-369, he means like omega fatty acids are called.
Fatty acid. Yeah, or you can add anything. What was the purpose of it? What is the purpose of omega-6? Rick, can you put Wikipedia on omega-6, please? Very interesting. If you are knowledge seekers, if you look at the famous, what I call ladies of pleasure, you find them in Wikipedia. Murderers, you find them in Wikipedia. But the scientists on the edge of science like me don't exist in Wikipedia, because they've been paid by their masters not disclose that people learn more. And so you learn Wikipedia is not independent, it's paymastered. And it's very interesting, just put Wikipedia, Meran Tawakali Keshe doesn't exist. And 4 or 5 times knowledge seekers have tried it, where you put the name of the well-known prostitutes, you find them. So that's why Wikipedia deserves in so many ways.
Okay, there's a couple of different ways to go with this.
We want the chemical structure of it, the energy bound structure of it.
Okay, let's get back to they're listed separately as omega-3, omega-9, and omega-6.
No, we want omega-6, omega. These are all radioactive materials. These omega-6, omega-6 is converted fat for emotionally trapped animals. So preferably do not use omega-6. Omega-3 is emotionally connected link of the fat to free animals. In captivity, due to emotional structure, we produce different what we call amino acids to be able to handle part of the emotional imprisonment. In a free state of mind, or what we call non-captivity, we produce different condition environment, because omegas, omega-3s, omega-6, omega whatever you call it, is a condition of life emotion connected. That's why all the omega fatty acids have effect. The omega-3 extracted from captured animals doesn't have any effect as such. Is made up, genetically made up. Let me explain to you historically, you will understand. Our ancestors, especially I come from a Jewish background, they cook chicken. They cook chickens for centuries, because we didn't have mass production chickens when there was within the body of the animal was omega-3. And in boiling the chicken for a Friday night, called the Shabbat dinner, tradition across the Jewish world, the chicken soup is a chicken soup, has to be had on a Friday night. They traditionally, because they should not touch the fire, put the chicken to cook Friday lunch, and it stays. This is a hypocrisy with the religion. You're not supposed to touch the fire. Now everything is electronic. They're walking, they don't touch it, but it comes on. Now they're very good Jewish guys. But the same trick was coming in the back centuries ago. They put the chicken on a fire Friday lunch to be ready, because after sunset on a Friday they cannot touch fire, which meant in reality, take a rest. Body needs a rest. You can't work 6-7 days a week. They change it different way. Then this chicken cooks all the way through Saturday. So at a constant temperature, high temperature, to keep it going, that it's ready, because Monday morning, Saturday morning you have to have a chicken soup, Sunday, Saturday lunch you have a chicken soup, till you come to the Shabbat on the Saturday night, when you can start cooking and actually touch the fire. So what this process did, brought the omega-3 fatty oil out of the chicken, and it sits on the top. And if you talk to my great grandmother, she swears that you can use omega-3 for anything. I couldn't understand what my great grandmother was telling me, and she swears by it. It was correct, because her time, chickens were free chickens, free range chickens. People bought, farmers brought chickens. It was never a box or whatever. They were on the garden. We took what we call free range now. So, not being in captivity and eating what they like, they produced omega-3, because that way they could handle their emotions. Now with omega-6, which is the fatty acid of the captivity to handle the emotions, we don't get that effect. So you don't need to use omega-6. Omega-6, omega-9, they're just literally waste of time, because omega-3 comes through the emotion. These fatty acids are connected to our emotions, direction of the growth of the understanding of the behavior of the body. So when you put a free-range chicken with its fatty oil, which comes out, and traditionally, what do? We put an onion in. Onion, in the cooking time cycle of doing it, this is why you fry the onion in a way, releases another oil, which penetrates the meat and makes it ready to receive the amino acid from what we call fatty acids. And so a combination of the onion and free range omega-3 gives you the best emotional and a condition. Like you couldn't get a flu, and it sorted a lot of problem because they couldn't understand it, but actually that's what it does. This is what the behavior we see in most of the herbs. Indian herbs, you see, if you cook with the Indian herbs and don't let it to heat up, that it releases its oil, has no effect. Those of you who are in what Oriental or South American cooking, you get only effect of what you use when you allow it is oil to come out, that the oil can penetrate and interact by its energy field inside the body of the man. So now we understand scientifically what's behind it. And then when omega-3 goes inside the structure of the body, can you open the structure of the omega-3, please? Then you see this adds up, links up with a lot of things, with a lot of parts of the what we call human body. If you look at it, it's pure hydrogen oxygen bond. That's all it does. Oxygenates, gives energy to be, and then the hydrogen releases it. Can we have this a structural bond, not this way, where it says with the 6 and 12s? If you can open it up that way, you will see it in a much better way. So in a way, the oxygen extracts all the poisons and the hydrogen releases energy back into it. This is why fatty acids work. They've got a high level of oxygen with gravitational magnet inside the body of the man in the vacuum field of the energy. That's why you have a CO2 and the rest. And then it's, if you stop there, please, 1 second. Where are you going so fast, Mr. Clement? Okay, stay there.
Okay.
Stay there. And then you have, you see this very, very intensely. When you buy an omega-3 bottle, it gives you 2 indications, EPA and DHA. And the EPA, when it's higher, we give it to hyperactive, we call it to hyperactive children, because it's for emotion. DHA is for activity. EPA is emotional kinship. DHA is activity, physical compensation. And when you look at the bonding of the H and O, then you understand why the structure of the EPA has the ability to calm. It gives emotional control because it has the energy strength on the level of potassium. If you open what you were showing as 6 and 12 and everything else, if you can find the proper structure of it, I'll show you. I've done years of research on this, trying to understand the behavior of fatty acids. And fatty acids are literally why they work, is if you add the emotion to it or you add physically to it. When you have a hyperactive child, they call it ADHD. ADHD is attention deficiency hyperactivity. What is attention deficiency? It's emotion. I want attraction, I want attention, I exist. So you give it EPA, which is the fatty acid in the strength of the emotion, you satisfy the emotion. Voila, the charge comes down. Because, as I explained in the other teachings, ADHD is attention deficiency hyperactivity. Why do you have attention deficiency? When you don't give me attention, I'll get it. But to get your attention, I do anything. I furnish in the house doesn't exist. No human is any barrier. I take over everything till I get my attention. And what is interesting is the combination of this energy is so much that when I get attention, I have to be active. For me being active, they call me attention ADHD. So I wanna, if you satisfy my emotion, I don't need to be active. I'm calm as anything. When you feed me, I don't need to go to the restaurant, do I? If you satisfy me at home, I don't play outside. You don't satisfy home, I go to restaurant and I come home studying, I'm not hungry. And this is the ADHD. And when we look at the EPA, NHC, and DHA, you'll see it very clearly where they come. In so many ways, the present doctors don't understand this. The world of medicine has never understood the position of this. Now, all I need to do is sit down in front of you, give all the attention you want, or I give you a dosage of EPA in omega-3 from non-captured animal which had a freedom that he doesn't have the EPA itself, then voila, done. You want to use the EPA, you look at it. Is it from the wild animals? Is it from the wild fish? Or is it from captivity fish? You're already embedding the problem in another problem. This is why the whole food chain has to be understood by those who supply us with the food chain. We see it in the pig flu. Pig flu is a psychosomatic. Pig is not happy. You satisfy the emotion of it. You satisfy the illness. Doesn't exist. So when you look for omega-6, you're already giving a captured disease to a captured body. Why? Omega-9, heavy on EPA, but from a free animal. They call them nowadays open sea, what do you call it, fish. Yes, but do you want to come with me to the open seas? Yes, it is open seas, but a net and 10,000 fish in the net. Worse than the, what I call Auschwitz prison camps. Knowing you're gonna die, they got you here, and now we do what they like with you. And then you have to understand how badly we are controlled and we don't understand one behind the other problems. Omega-3 you use, try to raise chickens in the garden yourself, second generation, third generation. Then yes, you get the omega-3. Then when you cook the bird for his meat, take the fat on the top, and then you have more or less somewhere near captivity. You, when you have your bird, touch him, talk to him, you know, that they love to live, then you understand. Then you know what omega-3 is. Carol and I, we've done this, going through this process to capture what we call omega-3 for this purpose. Spend a lot of time understanding these things, but when you look at this binding and bundling of different sections of or part of the omega-3s, omega-6 or omega-9, it gives you very, very indication, because you don't satisfy the emotional side. I have a lot of hydrogen energy to live out, so the boy has to spend. It's like, if you understand with the omega-3 and omega-6, you're actually injecting your child with more energy, so it becomes, it's got to burn it. You put a fuel in the tank, so it's going to go. makes it more and more. And then you have to understand how omega-3 and omega-6 and omega-9 works. And then sometimes you have to interact like omega-3 with what you call B12 or B6. Then you get a beautiful, extremely intelligent, extremely calm children. But you have to know what to do. And this is the job of the physicians to advise. Any other question?
Was that the kind of diagram you were talking about,
Yeah.
Mr. Keshe?
Which one is which?
These are all omega-3, I believe.
Yes. Which one is which? You can see the hydrogen levels in them. And what you guys do, you produce CH3 as a sugar because of the carbon links with the body, and the energy of the hydrogen is released. And you can see the oxygen bonding, which pulls the surplus energy.
Here's another diagram that might be even better. They're all just different ways.
If you can put omega-3, omega-6, and omega-9 next to each other.
Here's 3 and 6 next to each other.
Ah, okay. I see now. That's very good.
Almost what you requested. 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. Okay, even look at omega-6. Look at the difference. Omega-3, and you can see the connection bond. And then very easily, if you are wise enough, you understand the difference between the emotion of captivity and emotion of freedom. You see double O oxygen, which connects you with the carbon and hydrogen to the, what we call the amino acid of the body. When you look at it here, try to learn to understand the processes. You see, this is, it just needs an end. So easily can connect to an amino acid. So that's why easily we call it fatty acid. Then you have a surplus oxygen, which holds this oxygen on its own is 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You see it? You got 2 H separate. Then all of them connected through this to the body of the man. Carbon is a connector. You have a nitrogen, which connects itself to it. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Count these. And then you see this. So at the end, you have 1 extra energy. This means one fatty acid connects itself to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cells, plus itself 8. But when you look at it, the animal has changed this. Sorry. The animal has changed this. On this end is connected to the carbon, to the amino acid. On this end is away from the carbon amino acid. One connects to emotion, one connects to physicality. One connects to freedom. Is at the end, is free to float. Here is trapped to imprisonment. Amino acids in conjunction are part of the RNA. World of science has not understood the world of creation. And those who people thought have understood have sold their souls to American government to kill them in the name of professors and academicians. Now we learn a little bit more. You have to understand these are all in the body of the man. We look at them as an energy pack, not as matter state. Any other question? You've never seen how clearly the emotion of the man can be demonstrated so easily on a piece of paper.
Mr. Gus, Stephen asks in the Q&A, for those of us knowledge seekers that have been consuming or interacting with GANs for years, are we building an immunity to viruses?
According to some of the information we're getting from Chinese, it seems those who have magravs in their homes have not reported anything yet. Wang Lin, am I correct? Are there any knowledge seekers in the background that can tell us more?
Yes, one of the knowledge seeker in Wuhan city, and she said she sold 9 Margaret her maid to 9 family, and none of them report any infection, and even one family was in the most serious infect area. And we didn't hear any other like knowledge seekers. They frequently drink against water to get infected. Let me ask them if they know. They can tell me.开始现在问说，就是咱们的知识寻求者，就是经常喝这个干丝的人，是不是就有免疫力？因为我们从武汉的一个知识寻求者，他说他做了9台这个磁引力单元，在卖给了武汉的9个家庭，这9个家庭没有一例报告说有感染的，而且他说其中一个家庭就在最严重的这个区域。然后也问一下这个知识寻求者，如果经常喝干丝水的，是否有任何被感染的这样的案例报告？ Okay.
I should have a look. Any other? Have there any of them telling you anything?
No, everybody say no. Nobody get infected. Some Chinese are asking why they drink gas water, they feel cold.
It's good because keeping the body cold, it's very good disposition because you're using the energy to protect. What we advise, if you have a possibility to sit in the bath with a salt gans. With the gans of the salt and the cup of life. If you notice, your cups should produce white stuff hanging on it. A lot of people do. Take that salt and keep it. And when you drink the gans water, just add a little bit to it. Or if you just produced a lot of that salt, put it in the bath and stay in it. Keeps you warm. It brings a lot of energy in balance.
Are you talking about the white stuff that collects on the center nano-coated coil?
Yeah, and maybe on the cups.
Okay.
This is a natural gans salt.
So it's not actually GANs then, the same as, it's not like zinc oxide GANs, correct? It's something different.
No, you see, the process is very simple. I cannot get my pen working. Why can't I get my pen working?
It's bad.
It's very strange. My pen has said goodbye to me today. It doesn't want to work. So you actually see my fingerprint. When you make the ganses, let's do it this way. Maybe it comes back. Oh, let's see. Yes, it didn't want to work. It's back. Thank you, sir. When you make ganses, if you listen to a few minutes ago's teaching, you made the plates, you created your gans at the bottom, but you depleted the salt from the waters. Now, you got to remember, this salt here is not salt anymore. Because of this single nano plate, you're in a gans state. So now you create the condition of NaCl, which is salt, but the salt in the atmospheric condition, because it's floating, is already converted, is in the matter state. So now you have created a gravitational field of the salt in there, but it's in the matter state, cannot enter the gans state. What do you get? So the salts you have created, you see on your cup, is coming in the same as the carbon was pulling in the NH, what do you call it, the amino acid. Now, the same thing, you have created condition of the gans in a nano state. But it's in the matter state in the atmosphere, so what are the salt level of strength of the amino acid of this container? So you get the nano, what we call gans state salt on your cups. These salts are absolutely perfect for if you mix it with the amino acids for a lot of purposes. But you collect them. These are, in a way, you remember Peter used to create copper and whatever. This is your converting the energy matters into matter state of the salt, because you have to understand the topology of the planet. The topology of the planet tells us very simply the salt level in the atmosphere in different areas dictates the life of what is absorbed. Life is not just by this conversion of the matter into a state of solid. It's a salt dependent. That's why we have salt body in our body become cells in the atmosphere. So you have these salts always floating everywhere. It's part of the air, because when it gets evaporated, it goes in, and partially from the condition of the extraction of the fields of the planet, we continuously create salt, the way we do salt, oxygen and nitrogen. So what you do, you just because of your interaction with the planet, gravitational magnetic field and the inertia, you're collecting salt, the same as you're collecting CO2. This salt appearance is more because if you look at it, if you understood the technology, 1 plate, 2 plate, 3 plate. Here you created the matter, here you create condition of the salt. And this salt is most, and if you can, I was explaining to Wang Lin earlier on this morning, some of you see a white stuff on top of your, what do you call it, amino acid, you see a white stuff, because your copper has a zinc mixture. This white stuff mixed with the amino acid which is on the top, keep it. It's one of the best gases you ever produce in your life, because it's connected to the emotion and the amino acid at the same time. Psychological depressions, this is one of the best. In the past, I taught you to do the zinc for like emotional conditions or whatever. But now that you know, you can use 3 plates, and you can set your plate as a zinc, nano-coated zinc, and a copper. Now you produce in so many ways CO2 in one side, and then you produce ZNO on the other side, and by the condition of the field forces, you should get your gases up here of Zn, and at the bottom you should get the gases of CO2. And by gravitational magnetic field forces, Zn goes up there, you get your Zn literally mixed up with amino acid. This is one of the best solutions for brain disease, depressions, emotional conditions. And some of you who made ganses in the past, that you saw your Zn gans is good for whatever, because without you knowing it, you mix this in it. Now you can purpose. What I taught you, this 3-element condition, is not just for this. If you use it this way, you can produce, you can start tailor making. In the systems, you can put 4, and then you see what happens. But you have to understand what you put 4. But be careful, do not use these so randomly. It has to be done by knowledgeable people, because you enter in a different dimension. As far as you're happy, please make a cup of life and leave these to the experts to do. I do quite a lot of these things. It's a machine, it's life, it's the beauty of the knowledge and the science. I know how to make a machine here that any of you enter any room, not like this, but the combination of these, that you fall in love. I've done it, and it's amazing how it works.
Mr. Cash,
Yes. Do you want to fall
can
in
you
love?
hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I do. And I want to ask a question because maybe it's abnormal in outside they mix with the copper with aluminum. In China, they say some copper has the aluminum. So is there any difference? Because some people still worry that like the copper is the aluminum
No,
instead of nickel.
very. I've never heard aluminum being mixed with zinc, with copper. They
Yeah,
do
in
it
China. Mm.
in China. Maybe they do it for conductive wires, possible, for a weight reduction. In computer systems, sometimes they do, but it's very, very, very rare. If you buy wires for electronics, they still do. They, they used to mix the copper and nickel and other things to make brass. The new material science technology, we do this in nuclear technology because it has several advantages when you mix copper with aluminum in composite. This is a composite. Uh, it gives it a lighter wire. It gives it a better conductivity, and the percentage of the copper you use in, the percentage of aluminum you use in the wire dictates the life of the component. This is one of the ways they tell you the machine is going to last 2 years or 3 years. They control it with aluminum. It's one of the tricks of the electronics not many people know. This is why if you buy a machine which is 100% copper, you have 5 to 10 years life. Percentage of the aluminum added brings the life down. So you need to replace, the factory sells you more.
But can we see any difference if the copper is with zinc or copper with aluminum, or the gas is
Copper with
different?
aluminum, if you buy electronic cables, you don't have it. You have it. If you buy for electric, they don't use it because it does not carry a standard for house use. If you're using like computer lines and that kind of thing, they're looking for lightweight transmission, they do mix with it. If you're looking for household high tension cables, no. But if you use your computer, I think you have it in there, but then you have to extract the aluminum in different ways or don't use it. Try with these things to use, what do you call it, stranded wires, usually 100%, because if they use a stranded wire, any aluminum in it, it breaks up very quickly. And it's originally, when it came out, they tried it, but it created too much fire. When you get a wire and you connect it and heats up very quickly, it has aluminum content. Because it breaks down, so the lines start breaking up. These are part of the
I wonder
tricks.
if they might be referring to silver-plated copper wire, which is sometimes used. The multi-strand wire can be silvery colored, but actually...
No, they're actually copper. I've seen the picture because they were showing me earlier on. I've seen it. It's a copper. If you use a standard wire, yeah, that's a different thing. But they use it in a different way. Now maybe it's time to expose something else for you to understand in a scientific way. Maybe not. if you have managed, it's very specific, but some of the knowledge seekers have played in that age, and a lot of your knowledge seekers have been trying to make a lot of funny things. If you see different materials and different dimensions, start asking yourself question why and how. Many knowledge seekers keep on asking, especially there's one knowledge seeker in the Iranian channel. He went crazy. He wants to make gold. He wants to make gold. If you want to make gold, understand the process, how the gold is created in the universe. And if you want to make copper, pure copper, you can, knowledge seekers who understood the technology, you can make these coppers yourself at home without contamination. And then what you do, you can convert nanostructure atomic copper into direct GaNs of itself. Very powerful. One thing as knowledge seekers you have to clearly understand. I explained this and I explained this again, second, third time. You want to be in a space, you want to be a space, an earth, or you want to be on earth. The space is a plasma. This is life. This is materialistic. But all of them are different strengths of the same magnetic field. And none of you are understanding this. And I keep on saying, move away from gases, move into energies, move to energies. When you have the energy, you can make whatever you like. When you have matter, you're conditioned to life, to physicality. But if you learn to work with the energies, you can create any condition. When you use matter state, you're trapped into physicality automatically. And the sooner you understand this, the sooner you understand why I give you these things now. I start to opening your eyes into the work of the fields which none of you were endeavored to do. I tried to teach you this, but found out mankind is not ready. Original knowledge seekers, I took them in too fast and they didn't understand. And I left it nearly 5 years and I brought it back for you to understand. Do you remember the cups we sold from Hong Kong group? We made the size to put different plates. Has it changed anything than this? I actually had to take you backwards because here is 3 plates. There I give you a level of 6 plates. And one day you understand this. Why I even gave you the 6 plates. So go on the original Keshe Foundation websites, shops, and you see it. We made the samples of it, prototype of it. And we came up with, some people wanted to have a pocket to hang it outside, and some people wanted a pocket to hang it inside. And if you understand this, maybe you understand something else. Here, you have 3 elements. Here, you have billions of elements in the cell of the body of the man. If you understand this in the future, where this controls to close collaboration, feel the strength of it as the soul of the man, and this controls in the dimension of physicality of the man. Then you understand why you have a blood and nerve system. Couldn't God put nerve and the blood in the same? Isn't this is? And then isn't this how much salinity I put in? I call it the lymph of the man. So I create your cells. When you don't understand, we go back 2 chapters till you understand the first chapter, and then we come back to the second chapter. 5 years it's taken you. Now because of your life, you understand the 3 plates. Now you learn. I always said, man will take my technology not out of the beauty of it, understanding the creation, but out of fear of destruction of his own knowledge of his life. And we're getting to that point. You see, I'm not a magician, I'm a scientist. They call us the universal scientist. We understand the creation of the universe. We created the universe out of understanding. Knowledge is so simple to explain, but it's so hard for others to understand because they do not see the totality. We have a doctor in Tehran, and he has managed to make beautiful tomatoes. Now he's become an agricultural doctor, medicine man, because he can grow tomatoes. He understood it and he did it. In the middle of the winter, he snows and he collects tomatoes. But he's actually a medical doctor. Now, can he use his tomatoes to feed the soul of the man? That's his next. Any other question?
Some people ask why they drink the gas water from one cup, one life, feel weak.
It means they have an infection. Don't drink the gas, drink the water. And when you drink the water, try to put the straw to take out the gans out without touching the amino acid on top. Then you understand why you're going hungry or you feel weak. There are different ways of emptying a cup, and each one has its own effects and results. If you mix the amino acid, first take it out, get your gans out, wash it, and then you add the amino acid, you have food. In the case of emergencies, that you can feed yourself that way. When they lock the doors, nobody can go out. That's your way, only way of feeding yourself. Those Keshe Foundation supporters in Shenzhen who went into the cup of fruits and they drank, actually the energy came from the amino acid which was created on the top of the cup. It's a pure protein amino acid connected to hydrogen, light. Any other question?
And some people ask if this one cup, one life GANs is effective for any virus.
Yes. Build it up. Do not change it. Do not change the cup of life. Carry it for the rest of your life. Anyway, hopefully in China we'll mass produce it, that it become part of every man's life. Because idiots like what I call Gate are not one or two. There are many. Hunger for now the money doesn't satisfy. You got to understand, to get in the brain of incompetent people like this, they came from nowhere, they got rich through stealing from the others, and now they think they can steal life. And now it's got to their heads, they become a king. They're king of nothing. Gate tried very hard to buy the Keshe Foundation out years ago. And we had a lucky card pulled for us that time called the Red Circle. The last time he came to the last meeting of the negotiation, everything broke up. I couldn't understand why. I told Karen, I don't know why. Every time I take Red Circle, everything breaks up. Now we understand. It became more, that's why we separated from him, that he was working for his paymasters. And negotiation broke up. And it was clear he wanted to control. He understood what the technologies. Met with his team and his lawyers a few times in Holland. Interesting thing was, they said, if you watch your internet at this time, the cake will be on your website. Then you understand we are who we are. And we saw Microsoft coming up. It's we just stick to the cups and the structure of the cups and the way it is. Don't deviate, because as I told you, you won't get what you're looking for, but this is what the virus is. You have a two-part virus. Stick to the two-part virus, the CO2 and the what we call CO. One CO is your connection with your physicality. One more. And what you call CO is for the connection of the line to keep the physicality intact, and in the process you have a magnesium and you create some zinc oxide on the top, which helps
Somebody is asking how to use the one cup, one life to feed our soul.
Haven't found the soul yet. That's the question. You need the soul combination. The physical body of the man through the process does that. And then when it reaches the point of the balance, it's a time we call it the point of death. Separation comes when the soul of the man reaches a given point. This is where, as you call, polarity changes. If you go back into the teaching of the space technology, I explained many times, many times. When you have a core and you get a rotation, and I was discussing this with the Iranians a couple of days ago. Your reactor rotates anti-clockwise, then stops, and then it goes clockwise. The heartbeat is trip, 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 trip. No, no, change, switch. According to what we said, if you remember, the sun and the earth. Gravitational magnetic field force, distance, space dictates the position. And if the fields are too strong, it becomes clockwise, Venus. Because of the field forces interacts with the center direct now, dictates the position field force and the current flow of the field. So when you understand this, then you understand how the physical body of the man and the soul of the man work. And when they're attached together, it's life, because they've tolerated it. When one feeds the other one, that the energy changes, like here, in a positive way, become negative, flies off. Separation of the two. If mankind in the future be able to understand this, because you'll measure it, the separation of the physicality, you can control yourself, or by the process of the field change position, separation point of life comes. And it starts from the beginning of the life. If you can manage in life to continuously feed this that keeps constant, good morning, I'll see you in 1,000 years. Life will still be there, the connection of the two. As I said, how long do you want me to stay? And if you know your partners live so much life, I have many wives, beat Muhammad to it. But would you remember your first child a million years ago? This is what man hasn't understood. Key to everlasting life is understanding this. And man has got a long way to go yet. Any other question? We are nearly 4 hours, 3.5 hours.
Yes,
Knowledge seekers, okay. Knowledge seekers from China. Please expose this scientist and his background and how he has come to this credit because of his PhDs and why he got one on his table he drinks from. And his private account outside. Chinese government has a huge concern about what we call people inside who are blocking a lot of things. And this scientist is extremely close, backed, promised, different shape or form by the Americans. Expose him and let the technology free to save the nation. This academician has sold the nation out. A friend of our security said, would you like to see his girlfriend? Expose him very rapidly and go on the internet and open up his book. Academician who's been paid to actually kill is not academician. And I think it's the job of Keshe Foundation people to open that to the national securities. We don't get interfere. We don't interfere. We have to. It's your job to protect your nation. Any other question?
Maybe one last question from. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, because when people ask a question, they said like somebody after drink the gas water from One Cup One Life feel it's hard for breathing from the lung and so it's heavy. So what's could be?
You have to drink small amounts. Secondly, it means 100% you have the virus. So you have to breathe. You're taking energy from infected lung. This virus attacks the lung. This virus is built to attack the breathing line. It's an airborne virus. You get it first in your lung and then it gets your body. So if you have such a feeling, it means 100%, 100% without a shadow of doubt, you're exposed to the infection. So breathe regularly and support your lung from the gas water. We had one of the knowledge seekers sending another affected person, the gas water from the cup in the oil tank, what do you call it? Oil bottle. Banglin, do you want to explain it?
Yes, it's fish oil. It's like omega-3 from fish, I think. And they have a very bad smell and the patient cannot drink. Feel
So
very
please,
sad.
when you help others, make sure you use a clean bottles. I know you're trying to help with whatever you have, but you have to understand that and has to use it as well. If you feel pain when you drink, it means 100% because it passes your lung and it's pulling the energy of the virus through your body out. So you better inhale at least an hour, half an hour a day, the water. Don't forget, spray your body, your face, your nostrils, and your mouth with gas water. Whenever you go out, continuously spray yourself because you never know when it's going to attach to it. Secondly, drink it and breathe at least once a day, twice a day for 5 or 10 minutes. If it's entered, it releases the energy to the gas. If you're drinking and you have a pain in your stomach, in your lung, it means 100% you're affected and it's pulling the energy of the virus. So make sure you breathe as much as possible. Most probably, if you have this condition, maybe you have a diarrhea too, which means it's entered both channels. Any other question? I think today is a good day for learning a little bit more and teaching a little bit, understanding the emotional part of our family in China. On the other hand, understanding the how we can help each other and what to look for in the coming time. And now you see your teachings over years is coming to flourish. It's at least helping you to save your life. It gives us a lot of freedom. at the same time, I would like to thank all those who are helping us with the Iranian conference in the background who are here and beyond and listen later on. We thank the Iranian government officials who are in the background, doctors, scientists, and many, many others, knowledge seekers who are working to make sure this event goes through and takes place. And hopefully we should be able to conclude many, many things with help of the Iranian knowledge seekers internationally and nationally. And in so many ways, I have a message for the Chinese leadership. President Xi, a man at the height of his power has to understand and be courteous. Your behavior in respect to Iranian President Rouhani should not affect nations, the whole nation of Iran, and through it, damage your nation. In so many ways, to be in the position of power means to be in a position of being a father without prejudice and understand the pitfalls of some. Your behavior in respect to the Iranian nation, because of the behavior of one man, is affecting your nation and the health of your nation. The Iranian nation will survive and has. I wonder what this, if goes on, would the Chinese nation stays one nation. Keshe Foundation has to be given the right to defend the Chinese nation as is true and amongst its knowledge seekers, not because of maybe a misunderstanding between two leaders. Both leaders want the best for their nations, and compromises are always made, but not by the nationals, but by the leaders, and self-interest of the leaders should not come into operation. Thank you very much, and hopefully we see you next week.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Are there any other announcements before we wrap up for today? We do have the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace coming up on Tuesday. And usual private teachings and classes going on with the various groups and so on. Okay, if there's nothing else, then that wraps it up. Thank you, everybody, for attending the 315th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, February 13th, 2020. Okay, thank you, Flint, for your work today as well, and for taking us out.
Hello. We are the Keshe Foundation. Our mission is to bring peace on earth and join humanity with the universal community. We wish and work to bring man as equal to all beings in the universe. By teaching plasma science and technology equally to everyone, no one is left out and no one is abused due to lack of knowledge. By donating to us, you can help achieve this goal. keshefoundation.org/donate. Innovative, revolutionary, stellar development, purest universal knowledge. In a transformative, futuristic design. the Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Our Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit is constructed from high-quality materials carefully selected by our team of experts. Embedding the essence of the new GANS plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man. This new plasma enhancement changes the environment of the body to allow it to return to its natural, balanced energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. For the first time in the history of man, a system has been developed and delivered which not only enhances the physical body of the man, but also enhances the emotional part of the user of the system, hence reducing and eliminating many problems that could not be solved in the world of science, to bring the body of the man into near perfection, as at the time of birth. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of every man today and can be ordered by medical practitioners, sports specialists, and healthcare centers. The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the future you have been waiting for, is here. The journey from space to spaceship technology has started. Every order is subject to a contractual agreement and might require additional accessories priced separately for applications according to each case. You can order or contact us at office@at.kfm.global for additional information.